Welcome back to How to Cake It. I'm Yolanda, and this week I caked a movie night cupcake. Yes, it's giant. Considering I baked 24.5 pounds of batter.
Whoa. So you could have made like 50 cupcakes.
More.
More, 100.
More. I'm really bad at math. We shouldn't have this conversation on camera. I'm actually gonna work on the bottom of the cupcake first and then the top of the cupcake. I just don't want to get overwhelmed. For the bottom of my cupcake, I'm using 4 different size round cakes. So each one sort of gets smaller and smaller. According to my calculations, I could have made a
Are you serious?
Yes.
A lot of cupcakes.
It is. Now I can simple syrup all of my cakes and let that soak in. It's time to fill these cakes with chocolate ganache. I wanted this to be super chocolatey and sturdier since it's the bottom of the cupcake. I'm building the cake with the largest layer on the bottom up to the smallest layer.
And you're gonna flip it then?
Oh yeah, there's some flipping. What movie will you always watch? No matter where it is in the film, no matter if there's 5 minutes left, what movie? Me, it's Dirty Dancing, Shawshank Redemption, Sound of Music. Oh, Pretty Woman. How could I forget Pretty Woman? Leave a comment below and I might be adding some things to my must-watch list. My cake is chilled, the ganache is set up from the fridge, so now it's time to carve this cake, and I'm just following the A line that I've already built, but smoothing it out all the way around the cake. Now I can crumb coat this cake with ganache. When my crumb coat is chilled, I can ice the cake again with more chocolate ganache. I used a bench scraper to help me. I feel like it's the first time I used a bench scraper on an angle. Because it's, no, this way. So I angled it. But because it's so tall, I really wanted the bench scraper to help me get my ganache nice and smooth. I actually want to add a board onto, I always get confused when I do this because I'm gonna end up flipping it. So I'm adding it onto what is now the top, but it's because when I flip it, I need that board for support because it will be the bottom of the cake. Get it? Oh, you know what's a good movie? True Lies.
Oh, I love True Lies.
Did I lend you True Lies? And you'd never seen it? It's so good. I have personally lent Cody like 12 DVDs. Yes, DVDs, okay? Yes, not everything is on the internet.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. So the first thing I need to do is cover this cupcake bottom with fondant. I have some fondant that I dyed a really nice golden yellow. It's a nice base. I'm just gonna brush the surface of the cake with a little bit of water, and then I'm gonna drape my fondant over and smooth it all the way down. So the last giant cupcake I made on the channel was the chocolate mint cupcake. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
I remember that. And on that cupcake, I did like a soft mint colored cupcake paper, but this time I decided to make it gold. Anything that I can make gold, I'm gonna make gold. It's the Oscar of cupcakes, yes. I think the most recent film I watched that like I was not okay for a week after, ask Cody. Every single day I was like, I am not okay. I watched A Star is Born. I was not okay. And you know what's sad? I knew it had a sad ending because it's a remake. And I still was not okay. I was not okay. So to make my cupcake paper look like it's crinkled, you know how it's like accordion-like? I'm going to indent some lines into my fondant. And I need to make sure that I mark the top of the cupcake with the same amount of sections, but the circumference is different. So what I like to do is create a template. Surprise. So I cut out a circle the same size as the top of my cupcake. Then I folded it into quarters, like this. And then I made sure I used a protractor, and I'm probably one of the only people who uses a protractor outside of elementary school. And then you can just lay your template on top of your cake and make a mark in your fondant with a knife. I made a mistake twice. I don't know what's wrong with me, but the good thing is I got it right the 3rd time. So now you have marks along the bottom and marks along the top. You need to have the same number of marks. And in order to join those marks together, I'm gonna use a ruler. First 5 minutes of the video, already used a ruler and a template. Now it's time for the best part. I'm gonna paint it gold. I'm mixing together some gold luster with clear food grade alcohol, and then I'm gonna paint my entire cupcake paper. And if you find it's not gold enough, let that layer dry and then paint it again. If you continuously go over the wet paint, it will start to lift off the fondant. It can never be gold enough, really. Goldmember. Yeah. There's a movie I like. Goldmember. Because it has gold. Gold and Beyonce. And it makes me laugh. All the things I like. And now I'm gonna put that part of the cake away and work on the top. It's not a cupcake yet. It's technically just a baked cake in a cupcake paper. I need to cup this cake, right? To create the top of my cupcake, once again, I'm using 4 different size round cakes that each get a little bit smaller. 3 of them, I want them to be rounded sort of from the top to the bottom, so they're gonna look like they're piped. And the largest one is just gonna be rounded on the top. It's supposed to look like the cake that rose out of the paper. You know what I mean? Like cupcakes baked with a little hump. So that's what the largest cake represents. It's become a tradition around here, and I know many of you are excited to join us once again. So it's time to announce that Camp Cake is back this summer. You'll get to spend the whole day baking with me and the rest of the How to Cake It family. We'll have more details for you soon, but in the meantime, if you want to get on the early access list for registration at the lowest price it will ever be sold at, plus a chance to win one of the 5 free Camp Cake passes, then head to the link in the description below. I'm going to give you guys a hint at this year's theme. Hint. No. For my smallest cake, after I'm done rounding out the sides, I need it to look like a point. Because if you think when you pipe a cupcake, when you pull your bag away, you usually get like a little peak. So to make this top cake look like a peak, I'm going to use all of my cake hump, stack them on top of that smallest cake, and then carved it into a peak. I stacked each one of my cakes on top of each other, and I had a look, and to be honest, I thought it was too tall. It was weird. So I decided to cut half of the top layer away.
Here's a really good love story, Silence of the Lambs.
Orhan.
In the sequel, he cuts his own hands so he doesn't have to hurt Claire. If that's not love, what is?
Now I have all my cakes, they look good. It is time to simple syrup them. I feel like if How to Cake It was a movie, Sir Squeeze would be my sidekick, and he's the best sidekick anyone could have.
So could we say this is the sequel?
Sir Squeeze Part 2. He's a little faster this time.
More explosions.
Yes, more explosions. All the cakes have been simple syruped and the syrup has soaked in. And I decided to cut a secret chamber out of them. I've cut my chambers out. It was kind of difficult because the cakes are thicker than the height of my cutter. So it was messier than I would have liked, but it worked. So I have this thing with my husband, Mr. Cake, about movies. We don't tend to agree on movies. And so I will always, because I'm generous, if there's a movie I think we would enjoy together, I won't watch it without him. He doesn't even like cross his mind. Oh, what movies did you watch on the plane? And he was like, oh, I watched Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm like, I haven't watched Bohemian Rhapsody since it came out because I thought this was gonna be one of our movies. And now I'm upset. It is now time to put all these cakes on a board and crumb, coat, and chill. For the top 3 cakes that are gonna look like piping, I crumb, coat, and chilled with chocolate Swiss meringue buttercream. Next week, I'm going to slip into something more comfortable. No, that sounds weird. That sounds like we're changing the channel entirely. If you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you will know when it goes live. And for the largest cake, the one that is just rounded on the top and looks like the hump of the cupcake, I actually placed that cake onto a board that was cut perfectly to size, and then I crumb coated with ganache. It's time for me to ice these cakes once again. For the top 3, I'm icing with chocolate Swiss meringue buttercream, and I'm making sure to use my invention, which is a square piece of acetate, to really curve and keep the curve that I created by carving those cakes. They look lovely. I love when this works out. I don't know why, I just love the feeling of it. It looks so smooth with no air bubbles. It looks like piping. Now I need to address the larger cake, the one that's like the dome of the cupcake. So before I start to ice this, I want to have some M&Ms ready because I feel like M&Ms are an ultimate movie snack. And then I'm going to ice the cake using my invention and ganache. Once it's nice and smooth and the ganache still isn't set, I need to grab handfuls of M&Ms and press it directly onto the ganache. So you don't want to ice it and then be opening bags of M&Ms. It'll set up before you even get to stick them. You need to be ready to go. What's a movie where people are ready to go? You need to be fast and furious about this. Connie, that one's for you. Connie's favorite movie is the entire Fast and Furious franchise. Connie's like, but this one's faster and more furious. I think I can start to assemble this cupcake. The first thing I need to do is flip the bottom of the cupcake, the gold cupcake liner. So place a board on top and flip. Now what I need to do is dowel this cake so that it has enough strength to hold up the other 4 layers I'm about to add. Before I add my 12-inch cake that's decorated with M&Ms, I spread a thin layer of royal icing. I'm choosing royal icing because it hardens completely, so it's the perfect glue, and I'll make sure that my cake doesn't move around. Now I can start to stack this cake, and I have to make sure to fill the secret chamber as I go. So we've got our 12-inch M&M layer on. Guess what I'm filling the secret chamber with? M&Ms. I'm gonna use plain and peanut, and so I just scoop them into the chamber until it's flush. Now I can add my first piped cake on top, make sure to line up the chamber and then it looks even around, and then fill the chamber with more M&Ms, add the next piped cake, fill the chamber again, and finally add the tip. Who would play me in the How to Cake It movie?
Beyonce, obviously.
Yes, I'm sure she has free time for that. This cupcake looks good already, but it's about to look way better. There's not enough movie snacks on this. If we're gonna call it a movie night cupcake, it has to represent movie night. So, you know what I need. I need popcorn, I need chocolate, I need more M&Ms, I need pretzels, I need chips, I need some candy. Then it will be a movie night cupcake. Add all these goodies in clusters on the buttercream portion of the cupcake until it looks full and yummy. And on top, to add some height. You know how cupcakes always have like a topper? I bought jumbo chocolate bars, the type I usually bake with, and then I shoved it. It was so good. And it was like, Cody and I were treating it like our buffet. So it was really bad. It was honestly really bad. By the time lunch came, we were like, we should have salad.
How was it when you cut it?
It was beautiful. It was like a waterfall of M&Ms. It was beautiful. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thanks for being here with me every single Tuesday. I love making cakes for you guys. So I will see you again next week with a new cake. And in the meantime, check out our new step-by-step video.